Okay, today we are playing a game on the Temple of Anubis and on Hollywood. We will be playing Doomfist during the first game and then changing to Genji for the second game. And this is actually two quick play games put together, so SR is all over the place. We also don't care about our team comp because it's quick play. Suffice to say, it's terrible, but their team comp is also terrible. It's not too long before we resort to bastion warfare in this game, so there's that. So we're just gonna start the game, because we don't care about so many things right now. And we are defending on Anubis, then we don't actually ever attack on Anubis, which is a relief, honestly. No one likes attacking Anubis. So, they have a Bastion. This is sad news for us as Doomfist, because Bastion is actually quite good against Doomfist, because you punch him when he's in turret form, and it doesn't work. And you're very sad about it, and then the Bastion probably kills you, especially if his team is around. And you kind of can't punch anyone else, because Doomfist's a really big guy, but he's only got 250 hit points, so Bastion kind of just chews you to death as soon as you're in line of sight. It gets very difficult. It could only be more difficult if there was a Pharah, because, God, that's one of the hardest counters in the game right there. There's just nothing you can do about it if you're Doomfist and they got a Pharah. Other than just hope the Pharah is bad, of course, which is the great equalizer. So the issue with what we're going to do right here is that we've used all of our abilities to go in, and their whole team is not dead, so that means we're gonna die, basically. Doomfist is very dependent on his abilities, not just to kill people, but also to get out again. Much like Reaper, you don't want to ever Wraith form in, because then you can't Wraith form out again. Basically, when you're playing Doomfist, I've played a lot of Doomfist at this point, so I'm pretty confident in my assertions, but I'm gonna put the disclaimer there that he is still new, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Gonna cover my own ass right now. So, usually what you want to do is you want to punch in, and hopefully you killed the person you punched, because you want to have a plan when you're going in. You're trying to punch someone very deliberately, and hopefully you have punched that person and they have died. Whenever you punch someone, you want them to die. Unless they're a tank, in which case they only mostly die. And then, unless a full fight breaks out after that point, or you've got your ultimate, you use Shift and E to get away again. Because it's very jarring, actually, to see a Doomfist just fly in, punch someone, then suddenly he's 10 feet in the air, and then suddenly he's flown about 20 feet away from you. Very quickly, because the E is actually a very fast movement if you're in the air and you can actually get some distance on it. If a full fight breaks out, then you'll use these aggressively. You'll, uppercut someone and, punch them. You'll E the ground. You'll maybe hold it for a second and then uppercut someone and punch them into a wall in the air, which is also very satisfying. Doomfist is a very fun hero. It feels a lot like playing a fighting game, honestly. Combo those fools. Punch, dead. But usually these are actually used to escape. The E in particular is very hard to use aggressively because its damage scales off of how far you have traveled. So, unless you are comboing it with the shift, it is very hard to actually get much damage off of it. I find it's best used as an escape. Also, if you have your ultimate, you, punch in, try and kill someone, then use your ultimate immediately and try to kill somebody else, and then bam, you can basically just pick off, at least 2 people, usually, for free, right off of that. Because the ult is very hard to dodge. Even if you have mobility, you don't have that long to react to it. So once you get more accustomed to the timing on the ultimate, it's very easy to just bam, dead, ult, bam, someone else is dead. Doomfist's really fun. I really like Doomfist. Been playing a lot of Doomfist. Because didn't play a lot after he came out, but now we've settled into that period where everybody's afraid to pick Doomfist because they don't want to get e-bullied about it for picking Doomfist. I don't give a shit. I want to play Doomfist, damn it, and I'm gonna play Doomfist. And usually goes pretty well. Doomfist is quite a versatile hero. It can be played very aggressively, but he can also be played defensively. I find he's usually best played defensively, but he's very versatile. He's very similar to Reaper, and I like him for the exact same reasons that I like Reaper. You get in there and you push people around. However, it is much easier to die as Doomfist. There is a much higher skill gap on Doomfist than on Reaper. So their Doomfist wasn't looking. And we have managed to just hop over Hanzo's skill, which he attempted to throw into the room, so everything's going well. Try to find Hanzo, but Hanzo appears to have transmogrified into Junkrat, so we killed Junkrat instead. Great. When you're using your E to get out, just use the shift as well. So you actually have it bound to Q, I think. Whatever. Use the uppercut. Use the raise and uppercut. And then E, because you get further away faster. And people are not usually accustomed to aiming at Doomfist, because he just suddenly... They're trying to aim at him on the ground, and whoop, oh, he's just up in the air now, and then you E, and oh, you've very quickly moved away again. You don't want to linger in the air, though, because you can make yourself a bit of a sitting duck if you shift and then don't E quickly, because you hover in the air for a second, and then you're just a big floating duck in the air, so you do have to be very quick. Very mobile, very high skill gap, does a lot of damage. I like him a lot, get in there and push people around. So we're very upset right now that Mercy started healing us but didn't actually heal us. Now we're healthy again. Great. We're about to not be healthy again. Here comes their Doomfist. He has just missed us badly. So I'm not sure what we're using our uppercut for, really. I guess probably because we want to try and up E into them. Don't do that. Don't do that. So that's an easy way to get yourself killed. It's very hard to rely on the right click to get you out because of the long charge up associated with it, and you really want to engage with it because it's usually just a kill. You don't want to shift E in, because then you have to use the punch to get out, or you have to aim the punch in the middle of them, and that's a lot harder because it's a much more stressful situation. If you see somebody charging, so we don't want to shift here because we don't want to go in with our E. We want to just like shoot at this man with our left click and then punch him when given the opportunity. As soon as you see another Doomfist charging up, similar to playing Reinhardt, you want to try and countercharge him because you will usually deny the enemy Doomfist a kill. And theoretically, you're closer to your team, so you should be less likely to die than him. Similarly, if you see a Reinhardt charging, you want to countercharge him as Doomfist because they made it so that that doesn't do any damage to either parties involved. So now you can also countercharge the enemy Reinhardt if your Reinhardt isn't brave enough to do so. So, there comes the dragon. Oh, we're really low HP right now. Mercy's also dead. We're pretty fucked right now. Most of our team is dead. I hope you're ready for some true sadness, by the way. Watch this one, right? Oh, shit. As if it wasn't bad enough that we already have to try and punch the Bastion, he is then nano-boosted when we arrive. Isn't it a sad day? Only shot us like twice and we died. Feels bad, man. So we aren't going to get back, unsurprisingly. Though as you might have noticed, this game is actually quite long, despite only playing one round on Anubis and one round on Hollywood. So we will be over here for a little while, so we don't want to come over here. This is not going to work out. And it's very easy to get killed as Doomfist if you overstep your boundaries. Now, if someone's not looking, then it's easy money right there. So, it's very sloppy. It's very sloppy. His E is very, very bad when just used on ground level because it does no damage. It does 47 damage if you hit him. That's slightly more than a melee attack. It's not very good, really. So, the general idea, if you're still fighting after you've punched in, I would have, taken my money, I would have taken the money and ran, I would have punched the Ana and then just been like, whoop, whoop, I'm getting out of here. But if you're gonna elect to continue fighting, you don't want to just E at ground level unless that person is, out of your range and they're almost dead, then you can kind of use it to finish them off, but it does, no damage at ground level. So the general goal is more to sort of uppercut the person, and then they hang in the air in front of you, and you just, pap, shoot them in the face, and they are basically dead at that point. Assuming you actually land most of the pellets out of your shots, they should be dead. And then you can use your E to continue fighting if necessary, or you can use it to just then run away if you didn't kill the person, or you don't feel like you can keep fighting after that point. There is some absolute nonsense that happens sometimes when it all works out just right, and you, punch in, uppercut someone, kill them in the air, E down, and then punch someone else, and that makes you feel like a god when that happens, but it is fairly rare. I would generally advise you to think of your shift and E mostly as escapes, rather than combat abilities, but they can be used as combat abilities. But they are often used as escapes. You can also use them to peel for people. You can use your shift to peel for people more accurately, because it is a CC effect. So if you're playing defensively, you can obviously just punch the person off of whoever they're attacking, but then you can also uppercut and then they're in the air with you. And depending on who that is, that will affect them more. Like, if it's a Genji, he's gonna be pretty put off by it. If it's a Tracer, she can just blink forward again anyway, but hopefully you punch the Tracer and she just died. If it's a Winston, this can really fuck with him as well, because then he's like jumped in, you uppercut him, now he's in the air, makes it easier for your team to get away. Doomfist is very good at helping people. And given how easy he is to kill and somewhat inconsistent, I find he is best played defensively. Though he can be played aggressively. It just sort of, it's hard to execute it, because you have to hit somebody. And I find what usually happens, why most Doomfist players die, including myself, is they're like, alright, I'm gonna punch him. They miss the punch. And then they're like, fuck, but you don't want to just admit the mistake, so you double down and keep fighting with the shift and E, and it just doesn't work. If you, like, right-click in and you miss and don't kill somebody, just accept that you didn't kill anybody and leave the fight again, because, doubling down on it tends to not go very well. I have learned this the hard way. So we have Meteor Strike built up right now, which is cool, because this is a very scary ultimate. We don't charge up quite long enough to kill this Ana. We needed, just a 0.2 seconds more charge on that baby, and she would have died. If you're not confident your punch is gonna kill somebody, like in this kind of situation, you don't feel like you have time to, fully charge it. But if you're gonna be, pretty close to the person, just immediately uppercut right after punching them, because that would have actually killed this Ana. You would have hit her with the uppercut, and that would have finished her off. If that didn't finish her off, you just punch her in the sky, and she would have fallen down. So if you're gonna be real close to them after the punch, just, uppercut immediately, because also no matter what happens, after you punch someone, you are probably gonna uppercut, because you're either gonna use it to go out, or you're gonna use it to keep fighting, so just uppercut the person if you're gonna be right next to them afterwards and you're not 100% confident the punch is gonna kill them. Sometimes you can fully charge it and the punch isn't gonna 100% kill them, because I found if they hit the wall at a 30-degree angle, they actually just slide along the wall instead of colliding with it, and that's always very upsetting. And that makes you also want to double down on that mistake and go forward, and then that also tends to not go very well. There's been a very steep learning curve with Doomfist. I've lost a lot of games while learning to play Doomfist. But I've got there. I'm pretty sure I've got a handle on it at this point, mostly because I've started winning more games than I'm losing, so I'm pretty confident at this point. Unless they have a Pharah, in which case, fuck man, it feels bad. So, didn't have to punch their Tracer, because she got killed by Reinhardt, and then we winged that Hanzo and he died. Great, awesome. Doomfist left click, pretty bad. It's a really bad shotgun, even if you're point blank. It's pretty bad, actually. Mostly just used to poke at people when you don't really have anything better to do with your time. Because, even point blank, his left click doesn't do very much damage. He's very based around his abilities. He is the only hero in the game that actually tracks ability damage done. I think he's the only hero in the game. He must be. No one else would track him. So we have found their Bastion. Bastion is actually annoyingly difficult to kill as Doomfist, as previously established. I would jump on that Bastion's head. I would go for it, and then the Bastion would probably not die, and I would be very upset. But we go for the Ana instead. We are, however, now definitely going to get killed by Bastion. However, we have at least traded for their Ana. You don't really want to trade, but it's a beneficial trade for us, because our spawn is quicker. We're also a very fast hero, so we get out there quick. When you're getting back to the fight, punch forward just immediately upon spawning, shift E, get real far. Right click is going to be off cooldown. You can get back real fast as Doomfist. Just punch immediately and then start going forward. You get back real fast as Doomfist. Not like Tracer fast, but pretty fast. I still long for the day that you can shoot an enemy Junkrat's trap off an ally, cause when Overwatch first came out, I did that all the time. I was like, I stepped on a trap, I'll shoot it off him. No, that doesn't work. I feel like that would encourage team play and also massive saltiness. So I'm all for it. I'm all for both things. So we don't execute this one. I wouldn't recommend going for that one, cause that's a far less consistent way of killing somebody. But it works out anyway. So, you know, great. Cause we just like E forward. The E does 22 damage when we get there. But fortunately we uppercut him and just like bap him a couple times and he's dead. Great. We get away with it. Just go for the right click. It's easier to kill somebody by hitting them with your body than it is to hit them with all of those abilities and also shoot them. So we are just sort of walking forward into them right now, which is very scary. Don't really want to do that one, but we've managed to get away. Now we're going to get into a very awkward fight with this Bastion. Because of course we punched him right there, but he's already in turret form, so it doesn't work. Don't do that, that's really scary. Just wait for your right click to be off cooldown again. Cause he ain't gonna be the one that goes forward. He's playing Bastion. He's gonna double down in that corner. You can just play it more cool than that and wait for your right click to come up again. E, very bad ability, offensively. There are, like, some positions where you can, like, reliably get it to full damage, in which case, woo. But, I think of the E almost exclusively as an escape. Bap, got him, easy. I find Doomfist's perspective to be really upsetting, honestly, because it's just like, whenever I see him punch somebody, it's like, I know that this hand is, like, probably bigger than my head, but the juxtaposition just makes it look so, like, such a little baby hand, you know? So whenever I see just, like, the melee attacks, it's like, I'm always like, God damn, what a weak-ass punch. Why don't you melee attack with your right hand? Come on. So, we're after their Doomfist right now. We, again, E-ing forward, doesn't do very much damage. Too far away to uppercut. Oh, bonk off each other. Oh shit, there's Tracer. We fucking dead. Because we bonked off him right next to their team. Doomfist versus Doomfist is really awkward. I wouldn't recommend going for it because you're closer to their team, and what is most often going to happen is you'll just bonk off each other, and then it's just dependent on whose team is closer. So unless you can kind of get the drop on the other Doomfist, or you know his right click is down, it's really hard to actually, like, take part in that fight. So there, Anna, a little bit scared. Didn't really react quite quickly, or her sleep dart was just off cooldown. She didn't save herself, very sad. Just got punched in the face after we landed on her. Also, his shield degrades real slow. Like, look at this. If you win a fight, it makes the next fight so much easier for you, because you've probably still got some of the shield left. Because it degrades real slow. Like, look how slow it takes that shield to go down. So, for this reason, he's also really good on King of the Hill, where it tends to be, there's, like, usually some fighting still going on, so you can usually just, like, chain a lot of shield off fight to fight to fight. Assuming you don't lose the fight, obviously, but hopefully you didn't. So there's their Junkrat. All of our abilities are currently on cooldown, so this is a very awkward situation for us. We have, we're comboing the Bastion. We have not managed to land our left click quite solidly enough on him, and now we are in the process of doubling down. We have managed to get away with it, but it's really hard to fight Bastion as Doomfist, and I just generally don't advise you to do it. So why are, like, all of our cooldowns on cooldown right now? Because we are trying really hard to kill this Tracer. And we ended up not punching her away into a wall. Don't try and uppercut her, just, like, go for the right click, because you actually don't need to charge it up that much, and she's right next to a wall. Because she's a very soft hero. Don't, like, go for the uppercut in that position. Just try and go for the right click, and she'll bonk off a wall if nothing else, because the wall is right behind her, so even if you don't kill her, you can still shoot her, and that'll probably kill her if the bonk itself didn't. You won't get very much charge off of it, but you should still be able to, like, bonk her into a wall and be able to finish her off. So now, we come up into this position, and we don't have any cooldowns just yet. They're all very agonizingly close to being up. Here's what you do. You don't do anything. You see this coming, you back up. You don't want this guy to know you're here. He's not looking at you. He's looking over there. You gotta play it cool. You just back up, and you wait that extra half second for your cooldowns to be up again, and then you can absolutely annihilate this fool, and probably this fool as well. So, also, here's the other thing. We sort of hesitate for a moment, perhaps because we're thinking about which cooldown to use. Just punch this fool into a wall. You can, like, fully channel the punch on this guy, because he is not going to go through 250 hit points that quickly out of turret form, so you can just charge up, bonk this fool into a wall. He maybe tries to run back around to the corner and dodges you, but if that's the case, you just uppercut and E away. He should not be able to kill you, and you have, like, a decent chance of killing him because he has followed you around a corner. If somebody follows you around a corner as Doomfist, you should probably be able to kill that person, assuming there is a wall to use. It's very wall-based gameplay, Doomfist, seeing as that's how you kill people, usually. So we have gotten away with it, which is excellent. We have not died, which is generally good for business. So here's a Mei. Doomfist is actually really good at fighting Mei, because you can one-shot the Mei, and it's hard for Mei to freeze you, because you can suddenly be in the air and away, and unless the Mei is really good at tracking, I find you usually get away from the Mei. So here's the doubling down, where we're like, I want to punch this Mei as soon as she comes out of the icicle. It's never going to happen. You turn around and you try to right-click away from that Mei, because it's not going to work. You're going to get chewed to death before she comes out of the icicle. So we've actually been rezzed, so we're going to go for round 2 now. We have punched somebody, and they have been taken 1 billion miles away by Reinhardt, so, you know, he can deal with that situation now, not our problem anymore. Oh shit, but, haha, that's the thing. Junkrat, active anti-synergy with Doomfist, because if they're on a Junkrat's trap, they don't move anywhere when you punch them, so they almost certainly don't actually die, because they won't hit a wall. I feel like if they're in a trap, that should just act as if they hit a wall, honestly. Because I have so many times tried to punch somebody that was in a trap, and they have just basically taken no damage. And I've been like, fucking Junkrat, man! As if I didn't dislike you enough already. So we almost have Meteor Strike built up right now, and that's pretty cool. We are starting to go forward a little aggressively. We hear Nano Boost has just happened, so we're basically just waiting for the person to come past us. This goes a lot better than expected. The E just straight up killed her. And we're gonna land right on Junkrat's head. Ooh. And we didn't die to his passive. Depending on where you land, sometimes there is no way you don't die to Junkrat's passive, so that can be very upsetting. And then we punched him as well. Everything went fantastically. A lot better than expected. Again, we E forward aggressively at the start of the fight. Don't recommend that. It just so happened to kill somebody because they were low HP, so great, what do I know? And then we just punched a lot of people, which is generally how you play Doomfist. You punch a lot of people. So we have again E'd forward, and we have ended up very deep in, and we've had to use our cooldowns very awkwardly to try and get away. Oh shit, we didn't really get away far enough because their entire team is right there, and the small health kit could not carry us through it even though it was Sombra hacked. This is what I'm saying with Doomfist. He's very similar to Reaper, where you can play him in a very aggressive flanker-esque fashion like Reaper. But again, Doomfist is very dependent on his cooldowns, and he's very easy to kill if you don't execute things correctly. So you have to have a plan when you're going in. You can't go in like Tracer and kind of like fake it. You know, he doesn't have the same kind of survivability as Tracer. So you have to have a plan when you're going in. You have to know, like, this is who I'm trying to punch. And then you have to assess very quickly after that whether or not you're going to keep fighting and get back out. Though you can generally tell when you punch him, when you're going to punch him, if you're going to keep fighting or not. And it's usually not, unless, like, that pick is going to lead to an actual team fight breaking out. But that requires your team to be fairly responsive, which is, of course, hit or miss. So, we got shot at a few times there by Widowmaker. We're going to try and kill the Widowmaker right now. We're going to be a little bit unhappy about it. If you jump and then uppercut, that does actually work, and that gives you just enough height to get over that, and punch the person up there. There are a couple of points in the game where if you jump and then uppercut, that gives you just enough lift to get to the person. As little sense as it makes to jump and then uppercut, it does actually work. So, we've, their team is really bad, and they don't have a tank, so they've been having a lot of trouble getting in, as you may have noticed, and we have just gone around and, killed a bunch of people, so great. We never really had, a team fight breakout, because our team was slightly less bad than theirs, which is ultimately all Overwatch is about. It's not about which team is better, it's about which team is less boosted. And we were the less boosted team in this situation. Here we can see Symmetra microwaving a lot of people. They're all dead now. So now we're going to be going over to Hollywood and we're going to be playing Gongo the Bongo for the rest of the game. So we're going through a bit of a sudden hero change. Now we were playing Doomfist and now we're playing someone Doomfist is really good at killing. It's always... it's the best feeling in the world when the Genji doesn't know deflect doesn't work, and you just punch him, and it kills him through the deflect, and he's like, fuck. Blizzard, why? The first time I ever killed a Genji, by punching him through deflect, it felt dirty as fuck, but I loved it at the same time. So, we see they have a Doomfist. He was very far forward, so we have to be wary of that, of course, because we don't want to get punched and killed. And they also have a McCree. This is also very scary, because we don't want to get flashbanged and killed either. So we've already learned that their team is very awkward for us, because they have two people that can kind of kill us pretty freely. And they also have a Roadhog, who is not overly threatening by himself, but if he CCs us next to his team, that's very scary also. So I don't really like the come in front of the enemy team and deflect shit back at them strat, because... it, gets you some charge, maybe, and, you trade, a pretty important cooldown for that, so I don't really think it's ever that worth it. Unless you're trying to, Cat's just, destroying the other room, it sounds like. Unless you're trying to stop the enemy team from killing someone on your team, I don't think it's worth it in most cases, and I'd rather just save the cooldown. So, here, we charge in, and we have committed the cardinal sin of Gongo. We have charged in without knowing if we can kill anybody, and turns out everybody's full HP because a fight hasn't actually happened yet, so we don't kill anybody. So we just end up in the middle of their team with our dash on cooldown, and we can't get out. If you're gonna dash in, you have to be pretty certain that you're gonna kill somebody. I'm not saying you have to kill them with the dash, but you have to be pretty certain you're gonna kill somebody within a second or two of dashing in. Because if you just end up in their team with your dash on cooldown, you're not usually very long for that world. So we've ended up right next to their Reinhardt. We just flip over him like the cyborg ninja we are. Now we're hanging out on the air conditioner. Most of our team actually dead right now. Both of our tanks, bare minimum, dead right now. So that means... it's a bad idea to be trying to do this, because it doesn't matter what you do right now, your team isn't really going to be able to take advantage of it, because there's 6 of the enemy team here right now, and there's only 4 of you. One of you is over here, and then it's 2 supports and the other DPS over there. So you don't want to be trying to make plays when your 2 tanks are dead, because the enemy team is in fact just going to turn on us, and we're like, oh shit, the whole team. And then McCree, he really fucking wants it. He's not having any of this shit. No sir, no fun allowed. No, fucking quit that bongo music. So, he just comes in and kills. I was actually really surprised the first time I saw this, how aggressively he went in. But he wasn't having any of it. So, yeah, if your front line isn't there, you don't want to be flanking, because if there's no fight actually happening, you're not flanking anymore. You're just gonna become the front line. So here's the cat. The cat's here now. Say hello, everybody. This is the cat. No, please do not fuck with everything right now. I would appreciate it if you did not. So both our tanks dead, both our tanks now alive again, great. Don't do that, doesn't work, very well. Even if the turret actually shoots at you, you don't do that much damage to the turret deflecting it back. Genji not actually that good at killing Torbjorn's turrets. Not that good at killing Bastion, either, contrary to popular belief, because it's, the Bastion has to kill himself on Genji for it to really work. And that was inconsistent before Bastion had damage reduction in turret form, so now it just, doesn't happen. So, Genji, quite bad at killing Torbjorn's turrets. Unless you can just sort of, peek it to death because you have a projectile weapon. You are not going to peek a Molten Core turret to death. So, we exposed ourselves, we heard High Noon happening, didn't have deflect, walked around the corner, got killed. If you don't know where High Noon is, just wait for the 6 seconds to pass. 6 seconds max, won't necessarily use it for the full 6 seconds. So we're running at them, holding our deflect up. That's real scary, don't do that. I don't like watching Genjis do the play where they'll just, like, run up to them deflecting, because that's basically a play that depends on the other people being bad, and I find those plays are generally best avoided, because you should assume the enemy team knows what they're doing until you're proven otherwise. It's like the most extreme example is like when the Genji runs at the McCree using High Noon and just like gets in his face like, yeah, oh, cyborg ninja shit. And then the McCree just looks him in the eye and kills him with High Noon right after deflect ends. That's a play that depends on the McCree being really bad. So, best avoided. That's obviously a more extreme example than what we did, but I basically hold all similar plays on the same level, where I just like, I don't like it. So this was what we're about, though. Whole hog, yeah, deflect that back into him. Feels good. So we have Dragon Blade built up right now, and a lot of ultimates currently happening. Some of their team currently dead. Cat leaving now. No, we're going to use Dragon Blade now. Most of their team actually dead. We got punched in the face. We're looking for their Mercy. Here's Mercy. Oh shit, we had to put the Dragon Blade around before we could put the Dragon Blade away before we killed her. But she didn't get there in time to res. There's something wrong with your ear, isn't there? We'll look into that later. So, Molten Core happening, but his turret not built. Don't have to worry about it. We're missing a lot of shurikens. Pharah has killed herself with Barrage, which is very depressing. McCree tried to kill us. Actually fairly inconsistent to right-click a Genji, because right-click got nerfed, doesn't do enough damage to reliably kill the Genji. So we get away with it. Here's Mercy, she's back again. Oh shit, where's Mercy? Where's Mercy? Mercy just used res. It's only Roadhog. Who cares? We are, however, low HP. We duck out of the way. Oh, just, ninja shit. Mercy's healed us. It's a very hectic and chaotic fight, as you may have noticed. And, very prolonged. Now we get to Dragon Blade again during the same fight. Turn around and go for their Mercy. We knew the Mercy was behind us, but we started cutting the Roadhog instead. As much as we would all like to cut off a slice of bacon, feels good. As much as we'd all like to cut off a slice of bacon, it's better to go and cut the Mercy instead. And then McCree's bad, so he killed himself on us. It's always very funny when you see something like Genji killed McCree with High Noon. My favorite one was I saw a Genji kill a Mercy with Tac Visor, and I was like, whoa, that's not one you see every day. So, there's Doomfist. Ooh, that's scary. Oh, he's just used his right-click. Oh, no, don't have to worry about it anymore for 4 seconds. Then he'll have his right-click back again. Some people very upset that, Doomfist has just got a one-shot and a 4-second cooldown. Yeah, but it has a very high chance of one-shotting the Doomfist instead if he does it badly. So I don't actually think there's anything that wrong with Doomfist, balance-wise, because there's a skill cap associated with Doomfist. You can't just right-click in and one-shot somebody, no questions asked. And if you do, you might end up just killing yourself, so even though, like, yeah, it's a low cooldown one-shot, there's enough of a skill cap associated with it that I don't think there's anything actually wrong with Doomfist, but I've seen a lot of salty people about it. So we are now attacking their Mercy, because we are playing Genji. This is generally what you do. If you're gonna try and right-click the Mercy in this situation, get, like, right up in her, so that all 3 of the shurikens hit her. If you're gonna sit, like, that far back, just try and left-click her instead, like, left-click her head ideally, but, just, like, left-click her. If you're gonna try and right-click the person, and they aren't a tank, you gotta get, like, on them for all the shurikens to hit. And if they aren't all gonna hit, you're better off going for the left-click instead, because you want more than, like, 1 shuriken to hit, really. So we didn't kill the Mercy, and that feels bad, obviously. Our Mercy currently dead, our Orisa also currently dead. Fight kinda over at this point, we just want to be out. We're out. Great. Awesome. Our Doomfist, very in. Don't recommend that one right there. He did kill the Mercy anyway, even though it looked like the sloppiest kill in recorded history. But he got there in the end. So we get to just sort of sit back here and charge up our ult a little bit off of Roadhog. Pharah just used Barrage, killed Toblerone, but then Roadhog killed Pharah because, of course, she was using Barrage. So their Doomfist is there, as is their Roadhog, as is their Reinhardt, and as is their McCree. So this is all of the people that we're bad at killing right now. So we don't want to really associate with that. We are now on the ground. Orisa has been pinned, though, so we don't have to die. Oh shit, lots of shit happening. Very scary dash, because that could easily get you killed, given you're dashing straight through Meteor Strike. But he lands just before you get there, so you don't end up dying. Try to pull out the Dragon Blade, got stunned. It's a mercy, honestly, because he managed to cancel it, so we actually keep the full charge. Wouldn't recommend pulling the Dragon Blade out in that situation, because it's a fight that you've already lost, basically. And, the 1v6 Dragon Blade, while very funny, tends to not be very good for the Genji. So we still have Dragon Blade, we also have Meteor Strike, and we have Res built up, so that's cool. Meteor Strike is currently dead. Res is now dead also. So we don't want to pull out this blade, because the only other two ultimates we have are gone, and we're also 4v6 on a more base level. It's also not a planned out maneuver. When you're playing Genji, when you're playing any flanker, there's like a degree of planning that you have to do, and you want to plan out the Dragon Blade the most, because that's the thing with Genji, right? You play Genji because Dragon Blade is a really good ultimate. So you have to be pretty deliberate when you use it, because it's like an opportunity to wipe their team, or very close to it, every time you have it. So what I always recommend is fights already happening, or not broken out just yet, and you're like, alright, I'm gonna go in with Dragon Blade. I always recommend just like dashing straight into the air over the enemy team, and this does two things. If you have an Ana, the Ana will nano boost you, because there's no way she can fuck it up. You're in the sky, she can't possibly like boost somebody else because she's looking up in the sky at you. And she'll be able to see you. You won't be like around walls or anything. You're just above their team. So she'll nano boost you if you have an Ana. And then you get to look down at the enemy team, and you can sort of plan out what you're gonna do while you're in the air. So, and it refreshes your dash just pulling out the blade. So you dash into the air, look down, and you're like, alright, there's Mercy. I'm gonna dash onto the Mercy. I'm gonna kill the Mercy. Then I'm gonna dash over and I'm gonna kill that person, and then at that point you're probably just kind of winging it, but you've hopefully already killed people by that point. So it tends to get easier by that point, but Dragon Blade is the best part about Genji, so you don't, like, it's better than Genji as a hero. So you want to be quite deliberate in how you use it, and you don't want to panic ult as Genji. It's one of the worst ults to panic ult with, because you usually just die and drop a very impactful ultimate on the ground. And you want to try and plan it out as much as possible. So, we've walked around the corner and immediately gotten hooked, which feels bad, but D.Va stops us from dying. We then dash more into the enemy team. We actually managed to kill their Mercy. Great, awesome. Should try and left click at the Mercy in that situation. Because she is far enough away that the right, like, I know the right click's easier to hit, so it's just like the one that we always fall back on. But if you're not gonna reliably hit all three shurikens off the right click, you want to try and left click at the person instead. The right click is more to just kind of like shotgun them point blank, but if you're like not close enough to do that, you want to just left click at them instead, because you want to try and hit them with more than one shuriken, you know? So, Doomfist has actually killed two of them as well, and we killed their Mercy, so that's great. Torbjorn has just used Molten Core, but this turret is actually almost dead, so I support this train of thought of going up to deflect back at it, because it's actually already almost dead, so we actually do have an opportunity to kill it, even though we're not usually great at that. Toblerone also now all by himself. Dead. No turret. No team. Dead man. Poor Toblerone. Bonked off the rim right there. Feels bad. Now we're over here. We can hear their Doomfist punching, but our Doomfist killed them. Here's Mercy. We want this Mercy. There's a lot of, like, there's a lot of, hesitation in this one. Also, like, reload. You got 6 shurikens. Didn't notice this initially because it's, you know, it's like, it's white on white. So it's very hard to see. I'm also colorblind, so I'm going to use that excuse as I do at every possible opportunity. But there's, like, hesitation in this where we're, like, backing away from these people. just, like, get on that Mercy. This dude, he didn't notice. He doesn't know a damn thing. Get on that Mercy. Don't be, like, backing away, right-clicking at her. If you're right-clicking at that Mercy, you're going on that Mercy. If you're backing away, you're left-clicking at the Mercy, but, like, you just go on that Mercy right there. So, Mercy now dead. Mercy res. Only Doomfist. Doomfist dead again now. Enemy team, basically dead. Here's Reinhardt. We want to kill Reinhardt. Don't recommend dashing through him just because you don't know how healthy he is, and now we're doubling down on this by going further into their team while our cooldowns are down, and we end up getting killed for it. You can just be like flipping around the Reinhardt, throwing shurikens over his shield. You don't need to dash through him. And we don't want to just like risk not having the dash, basically, because that's like the thing that gets Genji players killed. So, don't need to deflect right there, really. Probably afraid of getting hooked, but it was pretty unlikely he was going to hook us, really. And, like, if he shot at us, it's like, whatever. So we didn't need to use our deflect there. Don't want to use deflect unless you have to, really. This is, not a good idea, because we have just dashed forward with uncertainty as to whether or not we were going to kill someone. We're just dashing to get closer to the Mercy, but the Mercy was full HP by that point, so the kill was fairly unreliable. So we just ended up not having our dash again, which is very, very scary. So, High Noon happening. We didn't see High Noon. High Noon has killed Mercy, but Mercy's already rezzed. So, like, you know, whatever. You know, good enough. Lots of ultimates currently happening, so we dash forward, we pull out our sword, and we dash forward again. Oh, deflect. Oh, shit. Oh, God, had to put the sword away. Feels bad. So, the thing is, the thing is, like, yeah, fight breaks out, cool and all, we're going in. It's just like, as soon as this starts happening, just leave. Like, I know you've pulled out the Dragon Blade and you feel like this Dragon Blade has gone to waste. That's because it has. It's just, doubling down on the mistake is not going to work out. You're not going to kill that Roadhog, even if you deflect it all back at him, because the Mercy is there as well. You just gotta give it up at that point. If you're playing a flanker-esque hero, a flanker or a flanker-esque hero, you've gotta be ready to just admit that mistakes were made and back out rather than doubling down on those mistakes and dying. So, we have managed to kill their McCree, which is great. Here's their Doomfist. Here's Reaper. We dash away from that shit, don't want any part of it. Doomfist ulting in. D.Va using her ultimate. Oh, we got punched by Doomfist, and you see how that fucked up our groove? But we still got him anyway, so it's all good. See how that uppercut fucked up our groove, though? Oh, well, how so good at peeling. Then we nicked at Roadhog's heels for a while, and he eventually did in fact die. So even though this fight had no right to go as well as it did, it did. Everything worked out in the end. Everything went a lot better than expected. Oh shit, here's Bastion. Bastion, not bad enough to kill himself on us, but he did give us a small loan of like 75% of his HP bar, so it's a good start. Dash through, build up ult, pull out Dragon Blade immediately, because fight kind of happening right now. Everybody got off point, we win game. Great, awesome, feels good, man. Everything went a lot better than expected right at the end there, didn't it? McCree got it. McCree didn't, like, kill a lot of people with High Noon, though, did he? Oh, no, he did, right. Yeah. I forgot. McCree is surprised by that one. He's like, wow, that one went a lot better than expected right there. That was 3 more people than I thought I was going to get with High Noon. So, what's up, Cat? Good talk. So the thing that stands out the most in this game is basically just, like, not planning things out, and then everything else comes as, like, a result of that. Not planning out what we're gonna do, we just kind of go in, and then start winging it, but that's really inconsistent, especially on Doomfist. So we just end up in really bad situations, and because we haven't planned it out, we don't know what we're gonna do, we try and fight our way out, and then, you know, it usually goes pretty badly. So if you're playing a flanker, you've got to plan it out, and if you're playing somebody like Doomfist or Reaper, you've got to plan it out even more, because they're fairly easy to kill, and they're quite, I was gonna say slow and methodical, that's Reaper. Reaper is slow and methodical. Doomfist is just methodical. You have to know what you're doing, you have to know what you're gonna do, you have to know why you're doing it, and you have to know what you're gonna do after you get there, as well. You gotta plan it out. You can't just wing it, because Reaper and Doomfist can't wing it. They don't have, like, the mobility they don't have the survivability, I'll say, because Doomfist has mobility. They don't have the survivability to just kind of like go in and wing it. You have to plan it out to a certain degree. And then Genji, you have to plan out the Dragon Blade, but still, same thing. Flanker, have to plan it out. And that basically ties into anything else I thought about listing, because I was like, we don't engage our fights correctly, and I was like, isn't that kind of just not planning properly also? Because if you plan out your because if you're planning it out, you know what you're gonna do when you initiate, and it's gonna go better. I was like, yeah, good point, myself. You really got that one. So basically, the biggest thing is just, like, not really planning it out, just trying to, like, wing it. And, like, this is a quick play, so, like, you know, and you said in the email you were fully bought into, like, the clowniness of quick play, so, like, fair enough. But that's basically the thing that stands out the most. Not properly planning things out. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.